What's up, guys, and welcome back. My name is Jake Towell, and this is my art series where I share with you guys some pieces throughout my art career. Today we have an insanely detailed piece, super vibrant, tons of things going on within this one, and honestly just super badass. Today I am sharing with you guys Zombie King. There's a ridiculous amount of details within this figure, so many things going on with his attire, his actual body, and his weapons. And again, I love this piece for the various levels of detail within it, so make sure you guys stay tuned for the fully rendered image breakdown. But before we get into the fully rendered image breakdown, we have to start where it all began, the sketch phase. Let's check it out. If you guys have seen my videos before, I've explained the levels of sketch phases, from pieces that I really knew what I wanted to do within them to pieces that a sketch phase was certainly a sketch phase and I didn't have a fully understanding of what I wanted it to look like before the line work phase. This one I would consider a mix of both. As you can see from the top of the image all the way down to the helmet, pretty solid line work. I knew exactly what I wanted to do with all those aspects. But when you get more towards the bottom or the hands of this figure, you can see the sketch is not very fleshed out. And so I would consider the sketch phase pretty solid, but I don't think I was completely confident going into the line work phase from this point. All in all though, I got all the details down that I wanted to share, all the really cool concepts within this piece rendered out nicely. So it was really just like the hands and some of the stuff in the foreground. You will see tons of changes from this sketch phase to the line work phase. Keep an eye on that hand really close in the composition, as well as some of the details to the left where his giant sword is. Speaking of line work, let's check it out. Okay, another spectacular line work phase. Really proud of the rendering of this one. Again, there's so many things going on within this piece, so everything had to fit nicely, have its space, but also not be taken over by other things within the design. One thing I really like about this line work phase, something I don't do a lot, is you can see the very high contrasted areas such as his helmet, the mouth to the right, and some of the shadows lower in the clothing he's wearing or on his chair. I think this added so much to the image, and now that I'm looking at this and talking about this years in the future, I'm gonna definitely go back to this. There's so much black in my line work that adding the highly contrasted areas boosts the line work, in my opinion, a ton, and it just looks really nice. Again, the line work is my favorite aspect of my art, so looking at this right now, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. And you can see, like I said in the sketch phase, that arm in the foreground is no longer a hand, but a claw. I don't want to get too much into the details before we get to the fully rendered image, but all in all, this line work is awesome. Super proud of it. Everything fits nicely. So without further ado, what we've all been waiting for, the fully rendered image. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Zombie King. This piece is so cool. There's so many really sick details and elements and characters and weaponry and design elements within this one. But I'm going to start with where I started this illustration, on this helmet. This helmet is so crazy articulated, so many sharp and jagged edges, super symmetrical, lots of really cool gems like in the center and scattered throughout the elements of the helmet here. It's almost like a crown helmet. So I was trying to depict a king, a zombie king here, and what would a zombie king's helmet look like? And this is what I came up with. I also really love the added red eyes in the middle of the composition. If you couldn't see, there's the base red here, and then I added the glow to make it pop a little bit more. But anyways, this helmet is super badass. I really love all the details, all the edges, and honestly, I would not like to be headbutted by this guy. It would most certainly end badly. Moving down into his body, you can see that he is sitting atop a giant throne here. He's got this really cool cape draped over his right arm here in the left side of the composition that falls all the way down to his legs there. You can see his other side is that fleshy skin exposed, and you can kind of see why in a second. We'll get to that. This giant creature popping out of his arm. Another really cool thing about this cloth in the center of the composition is this really cool medallion that's on his chest. I just really like the design and all the edges, of course. Tons of veins in his arm there, and you can see, like I previously talked about, this hooked arm. I guess I really didn't like the hand. You can see I have a hand up here and didn't want another hand in the foreground, and honestly I really like that I went with a more mechanical and biomass-esque style for this guy, and this claw certainly fits the helmet here, so I think it was a great decision. You can see these really green underlying tissue within his arm here. If you follow his forearm up to his biceps, it slowly merges into this giant creature on the side of his body here. This creature looks absolutely disgusting but super sick at the same time. You can see it's like a giant growth on his back. Things going on within this creature: a giant jig towel styled mouth, of course, some giant rings going through his mouth, and a growth on a growth, this little guy hanging out, which is a pretty funny aspect of this illustration. Moving up to the top, following that green under tissue, is this giant bulbous egg-shaped thing also growing off the top of this zombified creature attached to this guy, being stabbed open by this crazy double-edged axe. This axe looks so sick. Also has these gem-like attributes, such as main character here's helmet. Other things, we have this insane looking eyeball, very pink, very blue. He's also being stabbed by the helmet in the eyeball right here, as well as this aspect of the helmet stabbing through the skin of this zombie extension growth. Wow, that was really gross to say. Anyways, blood dripping down to the bottom of the composition, and as you can see by these loops, they're actually chained to this smaller chain, which if you follow it very slowly, you can see that it's wrapped around his claw arm. So it's like his pet. I don't know why he's chained up if, as you can see, he's actually growing off this zombie king, but regardless, it's a cool little design. Makes it a lot more visually interesting and cool to follow, and just adds more to the lore of this imagery, if you will. Moving to the left of this piece, probably my favorite aspect is this rib-caged golden sword. Starting at the hilt here, we have his hand, of course, wrapping around it, and at the bottom of this hilt is this zombified head. What's really, really dope about this zombified head is it has these nasty teeth kind of dripping down. Makes for such a cool face design. Makes it super creepy and adds to the demonic zombie look of the entire composition. Going through both these different sized eyes are two different blades. One's like this musket styled hilt blade going up through that big eye, and on the other side, this arrow with a really interesting and detailed tip. For sure did a lot of damage, and you can see it's popping out of this zombified brain behind the head. Moving down past the hilt, we have the actual blade itself. Look at the details of this blade. Really, really cool symmetry here. Super, super sick visual lines. And look at that rib cage. You can see the sternum here and the ribs coming out of the actual blade, and just looks super, super badass. And what other weapon would a zombie king be wielding? It just looks really, really cool. Now moving behind him, you can see this staff on his back with this rotten skull, which kind of mimics the skulls in the chairs here at the bottom of the composition. And coming out of this staff is where you see this giant smoky monster at the top of the composition. Again, mirroring this zombie's jagged, drooping teeth. We have the same type of style in this smoke monster's mouth here. A super, super sick color. Brings this green to this green and really makes your eye flow around the composition nicely. You can see that double-sided axe kind of sitting within the cloud. Maybe the cloud monster's wielding the axe. Who knows, but overall, that is Zombie King. So many really dope details within this one. I really love the colors overall and the blade and jagged edged designs and concepts that I articulated within this composition. If you guys also enjoyed this piece, in the description down below is my art links. You can buy this piece as a print in various different sizes in my imprint store, so definitely go check that out if you want this drawing for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment down below what your favorite aspect of this illustration was, and if this is the first time seeing my videos or seeing my videos before and haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It helps me out a ton. Videos every week, if not 2 weeks. I know this one took a long time to come out. Lots of things happening in my personal life. Definitely go check out my gaming channel, also in the description down below, where I live stream almost every day and post videos every Friday. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. I hope you guys enjoyed this piece, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.